Hey guys, this is vman from No Budget Productions, Pizza Roll Diaries, and with me today is my co-pilot. Oh, it's this way actually. Frank Parker. Frank, how are we doing, man?
Doing okay, doing fantastic. If I go back and forth, I'm monitoring something I should be doing as what pays my check.
The real world, huh?
Yeah.
All right. And below me today, there we go, is Michael Day. Michael, how are we doing, man?
We're doing good today.
All right. All right.
It's a
And
Monday, so.
as good as can be, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right on, man. And you are somewhat of a fan film guru. You kind of have your hand in several pots over several years of fan film stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, ranging from, well, hell, you have Potemkin Pictures, Farragut, um, Romulan Wars, just a whole slew of stuff. Um, what all have you been involved with fan films? Can you tell us?
Since 2008, that's when I joined up with Farragut Films. I saw one of their productions online, and I wrote Michael Bednar and said, I enjoyed your film, your new one that just came out, and that happened to be For Want of a Nail. And I said, I enjoyed it. And he said, would you like to help? So that's how I got involved with that.
That's how you roped you in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right on, man.
Yep.
So, how long have you been a Star Trek fan, and what got you hooked on Star Trek?
As long as Frank has. So basically, longer than you have been alive, Vance.
Right on, man. What was?
I saw the original broadcast, not the
wow.
reruns. I saw the original broadcast.
Oh wow! So first
and I
run.
enjoyed it back. Yep.
He
First
doesn't
run.
He doesn't look 87, does he?
No, but I am. So.
Wow. So you saw the first interracial kiss, the half black, half white. So
everything.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What was it? So what was it like seeing all those things like first go? Like,
well, I mean, honestly, I just thought it was the coolest thing being in a ship out in space, and that's what I liked about it. All the other ramifications, I had no idea until I got older. But I mean, that's what I enjoyed. I enjoyed space. I enjoyed space travel, and it was just a great thing. Are they trying to come after me, Frank?
Yeah, I know. He knows my dogs very well.
Well, you were talking about the 101 Dalmatians thing earlier, Frank. So maybe they're getting a little jealous, you know.
They could be. Here, let me mute for a second.
Sure, you're good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw what you said.
We got it, Frank.
Well, I have a question then for Michael.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the other science fiction at that time, like Land of the Giants and Time Tunnel and stuff like that?
Well, I watched as much as I could, but we only had one TV, and I had to compromise with my parents. So, but Star Trek was one that I told them that I wanted to see live. So I had to sacrifice a few other things because of that. No.
Did you have a black and white, or did you have a color?
We had just gotten a color when Star Trek came out.
Yeah, we didn't get a color until I moved from the house. So my original watching was all in black and white.
Yeah, we don't watch Star Trek on black and white if you have to. So, no. So. But so I, it was a black and white at first, and I had to battle, and we got the color. Black and white didn't work anymore, so that was it was nice seeing it in color, and But I'm glad I watched TV in black and white because a lot of people don't realize what it was like. I mean, everybody nowadays is used to color, and they look at some of the old shows that are in black and white, and they don't understand what's wrong.
Well, hell, everybody nowadays has their television. They stream it from their phone. They watch it wherever they go. They're on the bus. They watch. Back then, watching a television program, like sitting in front of the black and white screen. Watching television back then was kind of an event, because kind of watching going in before the television. If you wanted to watch something, you had to go down to the movie screen and watch movie series.
Yep.
So kind of watching something back then was kind of an event. So we're kind of spoiled. Well, not kind of. We are very spoiled with what we have.
The other funny thing too is back then everybody was crowded around these small screens, and everybody was saying, "I wish my screens were bigger." Then we got the bigger ones, and everybody now is sitting around on their phones. Back at the small.
It's gone back again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember when Next Gen came out, and I was in my parents' kitchen watching an 8-inch black and white television. Watching Next Gen, because that's what we had. We had the color television in the front room with the black and white in the kitchen, and I was watching it there. And when we had when I went to my grandma's ranch, we had 3 channels. And we didn't get Star Trek out there, so I was kind of deprived on the ranch watching television. But back then you only really had you had very limited channels back watching television.
3 channels until PBS came out. Then you had 4.
Yeah.
And some of those were UHF and VHF, so you had to play around with that.
So if you didn't have a TV that got UHF, you couldn't get some of the channels. So some only went from 2 to 13, and that was it.
So Star Trek was pretty important to you when growing up then.
Oh yeah.
So when the movies came out, did they kind of satisfy when motion picture came out? Did that satisfy your craving for Star Trek, or was it kind of lackluster for you? Because I know that's kind of a debate for fans today.
It was great, because at that time I was into CGI and stuff like that. So seeing them redesign the ship and bring it up to date was great. The story wasn't that great in my opinion, but I was just happy that they had Star Trek out there again. And then Next Gen came out, and that was good. Took me a while to get into it. Just like a lot of people that had watched the original, it took them a while to get going and getting comfortable. But that's usually what happens on most new shows. So
right, it usually takes them about a year or so to kind of find their footing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of feel bad for shows that get canceled after their first year. It's like they find their footing. Give them another shot. Yeah. So.
Or they show them out of order on TV, and so people didn't understand what was going on.
Right. Which kind of makes it difficult for a series that's kind of serialized, like say Next Gen, or not Next, like DS9, where it's important to watch it serialized as opposed to something like Next Gen, where it's
you can jump around.
Yeah, exactly. So go around to 2008. You've gone through all the series at that point. You've seen all of them. Which show would you say had the most influence on you getting to the fan films at that point?
It was the original Star Trek.
Was it?
It really was. Yeah. I'd seen that the most. I'd gone and seen the reruns later. Some of the others I could not see live because of things going on at home. And I tried to record everything back then. And Frank knows I had 1,400 tapes, 6 hours apiece, of TV shows that I had not gotten to see. Needs to say, by the time I could have gotten around to them, the tapes were starting to disintegrate. So I had to throw them all out. So that was like all that work, But, and a lot of those shows that I wanted to see have not come into streaming because there were, like you said, some of those shows only last one season, and there was a lot of shows that I wanted to see that only lasted a season, and still haven't seen them. But hey, there's so much more now to look at. I wouldn't have had time to see them anyway. So,
well, I think one of the. Oh, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if any of those might be on YouTube, because I know some of those shows.
No,
up.
not some of them.
We'll
they never made it to YouTube. They never made it. I saw a few of them when Sci-Fi Channel first started, and they used to show series that like only had 6 episodes and didn't make it, and they were showing them. So some of those I got to finally see there, but then they quit doing that. And I thought that was so cool that they were showing some old stuff, but then they quit doing it and they went on to other things. So,
well, I know there was a show, and the only, it really, and this is the thing that really got me to believe that I wish some shows got a second season was it aired on UPN right after Voyager, and it was called Nowhere Man.
I remember
it aired
that
on
one.
Voyager right. It was in the first season, and the only reason I saw it was because it aired after Voyager. But it never got a second season, and it ended on a cliffhanger, and I loved it. And it had oh shoot, I forget his name right offhand, but he played Captain Pike in the 2009 movie. But it was a great series, and I finally was able to pick it up on it was a bootleg site. I forget what the site was, but you can find that series on YouTube, because nowhere legit has it. But that's one of those things that those limited series that no one's really ever heard of. It's really kind of a shame, because that series had a huge impact on me growing up, because I got to thinking about storytelling in a completely different way than a lot of stories told. But it was very reminiscent of that show, of the guy with the one-armed man. He's always kind of chasing
The Fugitive.
Yes, it was very reminiscent of that show, but it had more of a sci-fi-ish spin. But I'd recommend that to anyone, and you can find that on YouTube now. Thankfully, somebody uploaded that series to YouTube. But it was a great show,
You also have ones like Arc 2. Let's see, I'm trying to think of a couple others that were on at that time that didn't have Earth 2. Earth 2 was another one that I wish had continued. And what was the other one about the Space Marines? Gosh.
Oh yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about. I'm sure, Michael.
I do.
It was on around that same time.
Yeah, but I can't remember.
I will at 3:00 this morning. I'll give you a call.
Okay, fine. I'll sadly probably be up.
Yeah, I was going to say I won't worry about Vance. He'll be up.
So going to 2008, you've approached. You sent out the message to Michael Bednar talking about the fan film, and he kind of reeled you in. What all was your kind of tiptoeing into that world?
It was not tiptoeing. No, it was not tiptoeing. I met Michael at a Star Trek meetup in Virginia. And I had never been at a Star Trek meetup in my life. So a group was meeting there, and they were just having a picnic. And Michael was going to go, and he said, well, come on over and we can actually meet. So I did that, and I got there before Michael. So I was, meeting some of the other people. One of the other people I met ended up being one of the convention chairs at one of the local conventions up in Baltimore. So met him. That was the first time I had met him, and I've known him ever since. So that's been kind of cool. And So I had worked with him when I was in charge of conventions later for Farragut. So, that was kind of nice. I actually met him early in my career, with fan films. So
what was your first fan film that you actually got to work on, and what all did you do on that?
the first one I worked on was A Rock and a Hard Place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's for one. I made a mistake. It was For Want of a Nail was the one I saw, but I was like, my brain isn't working anymore. But it was A Rock and a Hard Place was my first film that I worked on, and that had, I don't know if a lot of people knew this, but it had some drama at the beginning, because when I had signed up, they had already got a film shoot date, a location, and I was traveling, and I got this call from Holly Bednar asking me, did I know anywhere that they could film that, was like mountainous or rocks? And I said, well, I'm heading up that direction right now. But they had lost the location that they had filled out all the forms, paid the money and everything. They had, it was the Park Service, and they canceled the shoot. They said, no, we've changed our mind. You're using a knife in the production, and we can't allow that on grounds. So they didn't know where they were going to film. So that was my first little, going, but we ended up going to basically it was just not even a park. It was just some public land that had a little creek running through it, and woods, and little other things. And so that's where they ended up filming instead of going to the park. So, but that was my little foray into, and I was just a menial production assistant, and just ran around moving things and, going to get things, et cetera, et cetera. So
you're helping up fixing the hiccups that happen behind the scenes, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right on,
pretty
man.
Much. Yeah.
We all start that way.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had
or worse.
So you've had an interesting time behind the scenes, looking at all the things that happened behind the Farragut films. What are some of the stories that you can tell looking at so many of the films that happened? Because how many films did they have all total? Because they had about a dozen or so films, the Farragut films, didn't they?
Yeah, no, only about six or seven. Yeah.
Was it really?
It totals out to 10.
Yeah, it totals to 10. I did not do two of them. So
yeah, no, actually it totals out to 11.
Three of them I didn't do, pretty much.
Yeah.
So.
Now that Homecoming's out, it's 11.
Yeah.
But I'm counting the animated.
Yes, which I didn't have anything to do with either, except I helped build the web page for it. That was it.
Yeah,
but I wasn't involved with,
And Night Shift actually was Mark Hillebrand's.
Yeah, and that's one of the few I've been in. So
yeah, which is amazing.
It is amazing, since I don't like being in them. So, but he made me. So
what was that like? Being in one, since you're not used to being in. What was that like?
Oh, it's not used to be. It's like I didn't want to be. Mm-hmm. I don't like. I've never liked being in front of the camera. Even when I was trying to do production on my own, doing things, I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I wanted to be behind the camera, doing the filming, doing the post-production, but I did not want to be in front of the camera. So they could not understand that when I joined them, and I was so adamant that I did not want to be in front of the camera. They go, "You're like the only one that has come and joined us that doesn't want to be in front of the camera." It's like, no, I do not. I do not.
And now you're doing podcasts with Roger.
Yeah, under protest. Another protest, yes.
Well, some people are more comfortable behind the camera than they are in front of the camera. You know, that's the way it is sometimes. You know,
It is.
I've tried to get him to come on a couple times on Critical Not Cynical to back me up, and he's just looked at me, and I can't say the words that he said to me because we got a PG audience.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were G.
And they were G. Yes, they were.
There you go. So going with the Farragut, what were some of the stories that you can tell us that you had from the Farragut series? Some of the things that you've done behind the sets.
I ended up right after the first production. John asked me to be his assistant. So for about 2 years, I was his assistant, and I would just do things that he needed to have done, things like that. And it kind of grew into, I had my own specialty thing. I ended up taking care of dogs that barked. I also did all the conventions. I took care of all the conventions. I set up us going to conventions, or I went to the convention. And that was my main focus, doing behind the scenes stuff, because at the time I could not go. When we moved productions to Georgia, did not have that much time off of work, and I couldn't go to those productions. So I had to do something locally that I could do. I mean, I rarely got down to the sets, so which was not fun. I mean, I enjoyed the sets greatly, but I couldn't get down there.
So going to the times when you did get to go, as a fan of Star Trek, being one of the people that got to watch it from the very beginning, what was it like as a fan getting to walk on the sets for the first time? What was that reaction like? Because I know for me, going and walking on, like I was a fan of Next Generation. I wasn't a TOS fan because I always saw that as, that's my parents' Star Trek. I don't want to watch that. But me, as you know, walking on the TOS sets for the first time, I got goosebumps, and I was totally immersed in that world, and I fanboyed out. What was it like for you as someone who's watched the show from the very beginning? What was it like for you?
It was different for me than it was for fans that would come down to Farragut Fest, because when I did get down there, it's when they were building the sets. So I actually saw the construction of them. So that kind of took away the factor for me.
Right.
But it was so interesting watching the sets be created from nothing. Because our first open house is when we moved to Georgia. I think back at it, and we had hardly anything. I mean, we had a captain's chair.
I think that's what you got. I remember seeing the pictures.
Yeah, a captain's chair with this weird background cellophane that we had put up to make so people could take pictures and they wouldn't see what was behind it. And then they had made a week before the open house, they had gotten a group of kids to come to help build a makeshift captain's quarters. And so they had that. And then they had a pad for the transporter. Nothing, it's just a flat piece of board, round board, you know, and that was it. And I'd say that's going to be our future transporter pad. And I mean, you know, I think back and I just go, that was so pathetic. But it was the beginning. It was the beginning of everything. And what got me is we had over 400 people show up for that open house. And they were all just mesmerized with what little things we had.
Right.
And I think we actually, I'm trying to think, did we have the shuttle? Yes, we had the shuttlecraft built by then. So the shuttlecraft was there.
Was it? Well, see, I wasn't at that first one, so I'm not sure what was there. I know what we had the second one because I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But see, that's that's kind of the wonder that most people don't most people don't have even that, you know. You talk about like the circle, you know, like most people don't even have that, you know. That's the wonder, you know. You know, it's they don't even have that, you know. The play pretend, you know. It takes the us going back, because I remember when I was a little kid, they had in the McDonald's toy the little plastic chicken nuggets, and I would turn it over and draw a little phaser on that, and that would be my little play pretend, you know. When you see the stuff that you're talking about, the genesis of what would eventually be the sets, you go there and you see the potential that's there, you know, the future of what's going to be the sets. Like that's the wonder of what's gonna happen, you know. That's such, man, I would love to go back to time travel to see those of what would be the sets. That's epic, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It was amazing. And then the second open house, we had more stuff. And that's the one Frank came to, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first one.
Yeah.
That was right after it was right after I had met Michael at
Con Carolina.
No.
Oh.
No, you snagged me at Con Carolinas when I was con chair that year.
Yeah.
You and John were there.
Yeah.
And then you said to me, hey, we're going to be at, I don't think you were there, but I think you said Michael's going to be at, Trek Atlanta. Why don't you go there? And that's where I met Michael. And I think John was there too, but it was Michael and I and he says, well, what he said to you, why don't you go down and help?
Yeah. Those are his famous lines. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And then I was off to going down every other weekend for quite a while, driving 5.5
couple years
down and coming back. Yep. Like I said,
So
there's a lot of DNA in.
So you saw Farragut Studios built from the ground up, and
I've seen two.
Yeah, he's seen two. Like
I was there for
the original one.
Original one in St. Mary's. That's where we filmed Price of Anything. And then when we finished filming that, everything was moved within 2 weeks because we lost the building. I wasn't down for the move. And then I remember when I came into the new warehouse going, and everything was just all over the place.
All over the place. Yeah. But it was 3 times larger. So, you know, that was a nice little thing. So
fast forward a little bit to your time on the Romulan Wars. What can you tell us about your involvement with Lee Gartrell?
It was very limited. I actually had talked to Lee pretty much right at the beginning before I'd really gotten too involved with Farragut. And we were chatting, and I actually went to one of their filmings. I flew over to Oklahoma and went to one of their filmings, and that was the first time I had met him, and met some people there that some of them I'm still friends with, which is great. And some have roped me into fan films with them, and you know, I'm talking about Scotty Whitehurst.
I knew you were talking about Scotty.
So I've done some fan films with him too, and gone down to Mississippi to do those. So
I'm trying to think. Did I do my stuff for Lee before I met Michael?
You know, it had to have been after.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you wrote me in on that one. That's where you wrote me into the.
Yeah, I roped him in on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing. Like Lee Gartrell has a very distinct look on his fan films, and the Romulan Wars. That was the one thing that I enjoyed about his films, was it explored an area of Star Trek that no one really ever touches. Everyone's always TOS, or you've got a few next gen limited, but nobody ever goes to the Archer era, the Romulan Wars era of films, and that was something where I always felt like, no one really ever gives him the tip of the hat per se that I feel like he deserves. It's always underappreciated, those films that he does. But so what all did you do on the Romulan Wars, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, as I said, I was basically there, and I ended up kind of, helping him with some background stuff like I normally do. With some lighting issues and other things. I just tried to help him what I could, because I know that was the first time I'd met him, so it was like I didn't want to step on any toes or anything. So I just did that, and then I came down one other time to another film, and then another time I was going to come and I had to cancel at the last minute, and that was the one I wish I had gotten to, but I just couldn't. So and then that was the last one I had been down. Then he kind of changed the way he did things. He did more things virtual filming and not the sets, because I think he lost where his sets were. He had lost the building, and so he had to do the virtual and the green screen stuff after that. So
I'm having problems with my green screen right now. I don't know, it's my lighting.
Yeah, so you're kind of phasing in and out there, Frank. Someone's trying to transport you, brother. You need to get
that's what I'm thinking. Oh, there went the planet. Oh my, and there goes Frank. He got beamed out.
Holy moly. This turned into quite the program, Frank.
I don't know. Me and I have to have my green screen as perfect as possible.
Oh my God.
I think, yeah, there's a ship behind there in the corner. I think that's what's doing it.
It could be.
Yeah. Other side.
Yeah.
There, right there. There's a ship. No, you're blocking it now. It's in the corner of the screen there.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
it's trying to phase in and out too, and it's
half cloaked. Yeah, it's halfway.
It's probably a Romulan.
Yeah, because we brought it up. They're like, oh, they're onto us. It's at least probably over there. Like, he's telling my secrets. Oh man,
probably. Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to you work at Potemkin, or you work with Randy Potemkin. What do you do over there?
Just solve problems, figure things out. We're on the phone quite a bit. I do their web page. That's about it. I'm not in any of the production. Same reason I won't do it. I've gone to a couple of filmings. I've done a couple of conventions with them, but it's I'd like to do more, but I'm limited to what I can do. So I just try to make Frank do what I can't do. So,
well, I think it can be fair to say in a way, from my working with you and being friends over these years, is you're more of the type to be there for those of us, and for those that don't realize it, he's also a producer on Crossroads and was a producer on Dreadnought Dominion. You're like a sounding board to a lot of us.
Yeah, I am. Mm-hmm.
And we'll come up with something and you'll say, no, I don't think you should. And then you sit there and you think about it, and I would say 98% of the time he's right. And then every once in a while I buck him, and then I go, why the hell didn't I listen to him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys have had a huge history, strong friendship, from what Frank tells me, because he's always talking about you. He's like, oh, let me run this past Michael. Let me talk to Michael about this. Like, he's always talking about you. Like, I hear. I mean, you guys seem to be like BFFs, or at least from what I see. I mean,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He even lets me go up to his house and beat him at hand and foot.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. I don't let many people do that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of people, they the behind the scenes people are just as important as the people in front of the camera, because if it's not for the behind the scenes people, some of these things don't go. Because the writers might have a good idea, but if it's not for the sounding board people, are like, let's reel this in. You might have a bad idea that needs to be reeled in. So you know they're just as important.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I am not usually recognized because I am usually the sounding board and I am not in front of the camera. So a lot of people don't even know who I am. And like I have been at productions and new people that have come on have no idea who I am. And some have put their foot in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had to come up and apologize to me because they said things to me that they didn't realize I was one of the main producers. They had no idea.
Yeah, I know exactly those stories. And there's also something else that you don't mention a lot. You've done a little bit of voice acting, though.
Yes. Another thing
And,
I didn't want to do. Yeah.
yeah, you did that on Rain. That was on an audio series called Ranger, right?
I did Ranger and I did the sister show to that too, which I can't remember the name right now.
Yeah,
it'll come to me in a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, so you've done something, but you haven't done anything for Randy Wren.
No.
No,
No.
I didn't think you did anything on there. I think I did one stint with that on there for his Outlaws. Trying to think of what the other one besides Ranger was. So there are a couple things that are hidden in there that you don't think about until you start, getting into discussions like this. So.
Yeah, there is a few things. But I mean, I was also involved with someone I met on Farragut, Mark Hildebrand. I was an associate producer with a film that he did. He did a documentary on the Star Spangled Banner, the writing of the Star Spangled Banner for the 200th anniversary. He did a show, and it was called Anthem, and it was
an award.
It won a few awards, and it also was broadcast on PBS nationwide. So that was I'm proud of that one. It just got released. It just got off of PBS, so he just released it out there. It's an hour long, and so it's out there for people to look at. PBS said it had been too many years and it was looking out of date because it featured two governors ago of Maryland, and they said, this is either updated or and he said, no, I'm not going to update it. I'm on to other projects now. So, but it's out there now, and it's called Anthem, and it's really good. I mean, it's a lot of misconceptions about the Star Spangled Banner and how it came about. He talks about the War of 1812 too, and I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. Plus, he's also been very involved with the Farragut. He played. Was it Corps? Is that what it called?
Corps, and he played General Washington. And he played a Starfleet captain, and he played a Mirror Universe captain. So yeah, he's done.
He's humongous.
He's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely the Washington. If you watch For Want of a Nail, he plays Washington. And if I was going to depict Washington as to what I would think that Washington would be like, Mark Hildebrand would be Washington without a doubt. Except his teeth are better.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I look back, just the beginnings. We filmed a couple of times over at Mark's house, and I mean, everybody was so nice and was so welcoming to me when I came in, and I think that's probably why I stuck around for so long. until I had to move on, because after the last Farragut Fest and we were selling the sets, it was like, yeah, it's time to move on. So, because I was already involved with some other things, so I said, yeah, it's time to step away now.
And then we rope you back in.
I know, whatever.
What a lot of people don't know is your other love.
What, tormenting you?
Well, besides that, BBC.
Yeah.
What is this now?
He's a who is.
Doctor Who.
You're a Whovian.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm sure Frank did not see the new one yet, so we won't even discuss it.
Well, no, you see, this is why Donna pays him, because they talk Doctor Who all the time, and I'm still back with Tom Baker as my.
So which one of the new Who's is your favorite?
David Tennant.
Is
by
it?
far. Yeah.
Mine is Christopher Eccleston. That's my.
He would have been my first if he had stayed longer.
Yeah.
But with him only being a year, I just don't think he got a chance to flesh it out more. I mean, he probably would have been my favorite if that had not happened, but yeah, I was sorry. I was sorry to see him go. I was
too. I think for the limited amount of time he had, I think I think that it's the same thing for him that I see in David Tennant. There, when he smiles, there's a sadness behind his eyes that you see, and I like that. I think there's an attractiveness in that character that you see, that you're like, oh, he's smiling, but there's a sadness there, and you're like, oh, you root for it, and I like that. And that's the type of hero that you can get behind, because that he's not fighting for himself. He's fighting because there's pain there, and he just goes, in his jokes, he's happy, but he's sad, and it's like, and I like Matt Smith, but he's a little too goofy for me, but I like him still. But I thought I was gonna like Capaldi a little more than I did, but he was a little too grumpy for me. I couldn't get behind him, but I still need to watch him, because I only watched, I think, maybe that first year, and then I stopped, and I haven't picked it up since. And the Whittaker, I haven't watched anything from her. Every time I've seen clips, nothing's appealed to me about her, so I haven't gone back. So this
is her last season, so
that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
What I heard the other day, whether this is true or not, but I read this either yesterday or the day before. I was telling Donna about this, that I heard that Linda Lovelace, Xena, wants to be the next. So
I read that. Yeah.
Is that a true thing?
Yeah. Well, I saw it too. That doesn't mean it was true.
Yeah.
But
every time there's a new Who, there's always a million rumors. I believe none of them, because every time, everyone's always wrong. I don't believe any of it. So
well, that's true. Plus, they're bringing back.
Can it?
No. Well, who knows? But the one who recreated it again is coming back as the showrunner.
Moffat.
Steve. Yeah. Before Moffat. No.
Russell T. Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, he's coming back. So the rumors are all over the place that he might bring some people back that he had their stories just disappeared. So who knows? So who knows what might happen? So
I was really disappointed in the 50th anniversary that Christopher Eccleston didn't come back, that they had the War Doctor, because it was originally supposed to be Eccleston instead of the War Doctor.
Yeah.
And
I did say Lovelace, didn't I?
Yes, you did, but we went. I knew who you meant.
Where is your mind, Frank?
Well, we know.
Thanks, Roy.
I just hope Donna doesn't
Oh, she'll see
watch
it.
this.
She'll smack me around. I'm surprised. I said that she must have been busy because I sent an ping to her.
Yeah, well, she's probably busy.
What was your take on Peter Capaldi as the Doctor? Because, like I said, I stopped watching.
I watched them all, but I really didn't care for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was him or if it was the writing. I wasn't sure.
I think the last one I watched with him was when he like punched a wall or something for like 1,000 years or 10,000 years.
Yeah, that was yeah.
To me, I felt like the relationship with him and Clara was odd. Like I don't know. Like
yeah, I agree. I agree.
To me, I was like I can't get behind. Like I was just like, this is creepy to me. Like what the hell is? I don't know. Like I sat there and I looked over at my wife and I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on in any of these stories anymore. And it just seemed like from week to week to week, I couldn't follow. I was like, did I miss an episode? And I just didn't know what anyone was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
And I just stopped watching. And then I picked it up with the I watched a special with the classic Doctor, the first one, the
when they changed it to a cartoon.
No, it had the very first Doctor, the black and white.
Okay. When they were doing like a documentary on how it started, is that the one you're talking about?
No, but it had that guy in it. But it had Peter Capaldi and then that
guy. I know who you. I know what you mean. Okay, I remember.
Yeah, that guy. And it had those two interacting. And that one I kind of enjoyed, but I still had no idea what was going on. And I know it was because I missed a lot of stuff. But I again, it's just like because the previous season watching every episode and still missing so much, I was just like, what? So I don't know, like I feel like Doctor Who, like I want to start over and go from the very, from Christopher Eccleston and continue on, but it's just, again, like even with some of Matt Smith's stuff, I was kind of lost, like, wait, what is going on? So I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I don't know, some of the writing just seemed to be kind of bouncing all over from some of those episodes, but from what some of the modern Whovian people are saying, Whitaker just seems to have lost a lot of the viewers, and that's why they're bringing back the Russell T Davies.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I honestly wasn't even sure they were going to renew it, because I mean, I think they've lost audience all over from what it was at first.
Yeah, because I mean, I used to go into like Hot Topic or Spencer's Hot Topic, and you would see, sonic screwdrivers everywhere, and you can look at, I forget which fan film I made, but I have like almost every sonic screwdriver they made. And with hers, I was like, I don't even, this doesn't look like a sonic screwdriver. This looks like something someone would pleasure themselves with. I'm not buying this. This looks really creepy. I'm not buying this. But you would see Doctor Who stuff everywhere, and there's just it's not out anymore. So Spear Carrier says, I have to agree with the wall punching episode was, well, I was thinking maybe the Who was more talk than story and was pretty bored. Yeah, I was too. I don't know what the hell that was about. Laz Elberg says Doctor Who shall return. Let's hope. Because obviously there were fans. I mean, hell, we're here talking about it,
Except Frank.
I mean, well, that's okay. Frank can sit there with his cloaked ship, phasing in and out. It's okay.
There you go. Right there.
There you go. But yeah, Doctor Who stuff was all over the place, and now it's just, you don't see it anywhere. You'd go to Barnes and Nobles, and they had their own section of Doctor Who stuff, a whole stand of it. And now it's just, and nobody's talking about Jodie Whittaker. People, I mean, David Tennant's stuff was everywhere. Matt Smith's stuff was everywhere. It kind of started to phase out, I think, with Peter Capaldi. Very nice, Frank. Yeah, it kind of started to phase out, I think, with Peter Capaldi.
The ship is still there.
I know. You know what it is? It's sunlight coming through there. I don't have something blocking that.
Is that sunlight?
Yeah, it is.
It looks like a cloaked ship to me. I'm sorry.
It does. It's like a tall ship. Either that or like a tornado, like a permanent tornado, just standing there.
It's a tall ship that I use to guide myself with. That doesn't sound good either.
No. Or it could be a person with an umbrella, one of the two.
There you go. Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
So Klaus Elberg says, what about Richard Iodi as the Doctor? I don't know who that is.
I don't know who it is either.
I don't either.
Yeah, we don't know who that is, Klaus. Sorry, brother. So, do you have any recommendations who you think the Doctor should be? I'm clueless because I always leave it to people smarter than I am.
I have no idea. I mean,
I think
even if I, and I was thinking Frank, but I didn't want to say it on air. Anybody that I would say it won't be, because I'm sure it's going to be a British actor. I'm 99.9% sure, and there's so many of them over there. I don't know them, so it would, it's like
I could almost see.
I didn't know any of them that they have had. I didn't know any of them, so it's like when they bring up names, and unless there's some big movie star, I don't know them, and because a lot of stuff in Britain, the way they film it, it's like only 6 episodes, and that's a whole show. Right. And so they have a lot of actors that come in and out and do. So this is a whole bunch of that it could be. So I have no idea. I mean, I'm looking forward to who it is. I mean, I'm excited about the new him coming back, and we'll see what he does. I mean, I've heard some of the rumors, and I go, that would be fun to explore that they just left hanging, and so would that, and so would that. So we'll see.
Well, I think the one thing we all can agree is just give us good writing. Like the actor.
Yeah.
I think at this point the actor, we feel safe with whatever actor they choose. Just give us good writing, because the actor, it doesn't matter, because you can have a great actor. If the story sucks, it doesn't matter. Just give us good writing, because at this point, I remember when Doctor Who was running through tunnels and running through streets, and now it just seems like whenever I see a Doctor Who screen cap, it's Jodie Whittaker sitting in a coffee shop, and it's like, what the heck? What? Like, she's always sitting in some type of coffee shop talking to somebody, and it's like, well, when did Doctor Who get here? And it's, give us a good story. The actor, it doesn't really matter. Great stories always trump, razzle dazzle special effects. Because I mean, even going back to classic Who, those special effects there were really abysmal, but they had a great story. The special effects could be attributed to a kid's play, but the story was great, so we overlooked them. We'll forgive bad special effects as long as you give us a good story. That's all we care about, especially after the past couple of years of what seems like bad Doctor Who for a good percentage of us. At least from a numbers perspective, the numbers seem to have dropped off, But anywho, so with that being said, I know we kind of diverged. With that, I know we kind of diverged from the fan film stuff, but I enjoyed Doctor Who, and it was nice discussing it with a fellow Whovian. For some reason, nobody seems to want to talk Doctor Who, and it was kind of refreshing. So,
That's why I brought it up, because I know you're both of yours love sports. So,
oh man, if I had known that, I'd have been like, screw the fan films. Let's talk Doctor Who. Man, that being said, I may invite John for a whole Whovian talk when this thing gets started. Expect an invite when Doctor Who comes back on, man.
Okay, yeah.
So
I'll send you my bill. Mm-hmm.
I'll forward it to Donna. So it's
okay. There you go.
Oh, that's good. I'll get you. The three of you get on there.
We'll have Donna on instead of Frank. At least she won't phase on.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, is there any upcoming projects that you have coming up, Michael, that you want to talk about?
I thought there would be, but it doesn't look like they're going to happen, which is good. Then I can get some of my own stuff done. But not really. I just still working with Potemkin Pictures and got stuff coming up with that. Got a new cast coming with a new ship pretty soon, and that's exciting. Also have another new series coming, and I can't say too much about that, but you'll see the beginnings of it on the next Demos episode when it comes out in about 6 months.
Okay.
That Frank was at filming at. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And eventually he'll start working for me.
Maybe.
Since we do have him on the credits.
Yeah, but I try to avoid that if I can.
I work with Michael is more of my go-to person for, I have Vance sitting on this shoulder and Michael sitting on this shoulder. So Vance has got the horns and Michael's got, no, that's not true.
Crazy Frank there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Adding credits left and right, Michael's like, I didn't tell you to put me on the credits. Take me out. I get it.
I've asked 3 times to be taken off and he won't do it.
It's like, I didn't tell you to put me on.
He has not asked 3 times. He's asked 4.
No, okay,
well, Michael, it was a pleasure to have you on, my friend. It was a pleasure to talk fan films. It was more of a pleasure to talk Doctor Who because I finally found someone to talk Doctor Who with.
There you go.
It was a pleasure to finally talk with you, my friend. I want to say thank you, and anything we can ever do to encourage and help support a future project, please let us know, and we will absolutely help you in any capacity we can. Please keep us informed. I know you talk to Frank all the time, but if there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know, and I will. So, want you to have a good rest of your day, Frank. And you have a good rest of your day too, my friend. So that being said, everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. And everyone watching on the rewind, be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.